Hello everyone. Welcome to Mining Devs. Guys, please circulate the message amongst your friends who are willing to join here. We'll get started in a couple of more minutes. We'll wait for a minute or two so that everybody's here. We do not want anybody to miss the start of the session. Please go ahead, circulate the message. Thank you so much. Hi, hello Deepak. How are you?
How's it going?
Yeah, it's going great. It's going great. Hi. Where are you based from, Deepak? Like how?
It's a very difficult question because yeah, I think will go to I guess we'll answer some of the questions that people here are joining also.
Hmm.
How the crypto industry is working is that I was based out of Toronto. I sold everything, and I wanted to move to Lisbon, so I'm in
Oh,
Lisbon right now.
okay.
But I don't have my visa figured out yet, and I was not expecting Lisbon to be cold. So I
Oh,
literally don't know where I'm based out of anymore. So I'm probably going to Mexico after this to live there for a few months, and I'm
right.
going.
I believe a lot of people are even traveling these days. Yes. And the space is like that only. Na? It provides us with a very good flexibility. The crypto space. You can actually go ahead anywhere. We can live anywhere, and we can be a part of any type of culture we want to. Right. So what exactly is going on right now in the crypto space? Like we'll start with the session. I believe in a couple of more minutes. There are still people, they are joining us. I've had a word from my organizers. So in the meanwhile, maybe you can uh, tell us something. Tell the audience something that is really going on right now with Cresco. In fact, yes.
100%. Yeah, I think Biru had a question. Feel free to ask. Uh,
Yeah, guys, if you have a question, you can feel free to unmute yourself and you can ask the questions, or you can even throw them in the chat box. Like that would also be great. Biru, do you have a question? Oh well, maybe by a mistake, they must have raised the hand. Right.
all right. How do we? Uh,
Yeah.
all right. Okay. All right. So I just I can just ask people. Oh, what is that? May- all right. Maybe you're in the wrong meetup. All right, I can answer that question. I'll answer that. I don't want to be mean here. In a minute, I'll answer that. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think, do people have ability to what is it called? Unmute themselves here?
I think so. That yes, they do.
So I guess like as people are joining, right? I'm open, to have a discussion. If anybody has any, usually like the way I like to do like talks is just ask people, hey, like, what are you seeing in crypto? Anything interesting happening? Let me see what's interesting that is happening right now. Uh, yeah, I think there's been a lot of talks around. I think I saw recently that there's a project called what's it called? There's like a big like airdrop coming from what's it called? I forget. I'll send the link here in a minute, or I'll email you guys. But there's a new EVM chain that is coming up that is planning to do a airdrop to a lot of people who have been using the Terra ecosystem and the Ethereum ecosystem, and they want to be like this kind of like a bridge between Ethereum and Cosmos. So that is a exciting project, and like if you give me a minute here, I can find out which project
Sure,
is
sure.
that. What are you seeing, Vinayak? Like anything that on your side
Uh,
interesting?
y- yeah. Right now, I don't really know. Like wherever I go, I'm having a look at NFT marketplaces. They are popping around, and a lot of them actually coming forward. Right, NFT marketplace. I believe a lot of people are even involved. Even here in India, you can see a lot of pop stars also, every day and news about that. Generally, they pops out right now. I was having a look about Ubisoft digits at the same time. Like, this is happening, right? So a lot of NFT places. This is what I'm seeing right now. So current update is that definitely, uh, the scope of blockchain in itself is quite a lot, right? And maybe uh, I believe that the audience that we have today, they are all curious about it, right? And on that note, I think I'll give the reins to you, Deepak, right? And guys, we have Deepak here, who's the founder at Crisco Labs. Please feel free to ask your questions. Please feel free to be interactive in this session. We'll try to impart as much knowledge as we can to you guys, right? Over to you, Deepak.
Thank you. Yeah, depending on like how much time people have, I can definitely be here for an hour and go like maybe like questions I can take another like 10 minutes or so, just so that you guys have a time frame. So somebody was asking, what is this talk about? So it is a little open-ended. As you ask these questions, I'll try to answer these questions in my talk itself. And I'll also pause in places to answer any questions that you may have as well. So the talk is mostly around, I've been in this industry since 2013, and I've made a lot of mistakes in the beginning, and then later on, I've like learned a lot of things. So my career in crypto started off as a hobbyist, then investor, and then now I'm a founder of a DeFi protocol and a project. So this is how my career progression has been in this industry. So what I wanted to do today is talk about how I've evolved my own like thinking and psychology and the thought process, and how I've evolved with the industry. So what I would like to also like do here is, talk about my story and also see like where you guys are into, in your own like careers, and are you more interested in like hearing about the crypto technologies, or are you wanting to learn more about investing? So I'll try to cover all these things. Keep the questions coming. I think a lot of these questions I'll try to answer as I go down the line. So let me quickly give an introduction about myself. My name is Deepak. Uh, uh, Going way back, yeah, I'm originally from India, and I was from South India, even though I've spent a lot of time in Delhi as well, and uh, up north in like Calcutta, Assam, Sikkim, and stuff like that. But I did my computer science engineering in BMS College, Bangalore, and then I worked there for a few years and moved to the US to Purdue University to do my master's. I was always interested in security, so I got into doing my grad school in the cybersecurity space, and then I was a pen tester, a hacker, and investigator for 7 years in New York. So after that, I moved to Toronto and started our like office. I was in the company called Mandiant. We started the office in Canada, and then I wanted to like since 2013, I've always been in crypto as a hobbyist, as I was telling earlier. And then I got into investing, and then I think here, let me share my screen. Present a tab here. Let me see. I can share my screen. And how do I do full screen? Present. All right. So just let me know. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir. We can see.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So I'll talk about the evolution of crypto through my own like story. All right. So the story, like like a lot of people are asking, like all these meme coins, right? Oh, should I buy Dogecoin, or should I, like how do I get started investing in crypto? Or I guess like a more recent one is like there are like Shiba Inu coins and like I don't know, Good Morning like GM tokens. How do we think about these things, right? So I'll when I started in crypto in 2013, I heard about this thing called Bitcoin. One of my friends told me about it, and the price of Bitcoin was maybe like $8. And I was in San Francisco back then, and I had to come back to New York, where I was actually living in, to be able to buy it. So by the time I came to New York and I found this like exchange was still a little, a little bit of what's it called? Wild west. I mean, I think it still is a little bit wild west in the crypto industry, but back then it was more so. So I found this like random, like what is it called? A random. Give me 1 second here. I'll just organize my screen here a little bit. So I found this exchange where I could buy cryptocurrency, and I put like that back then I had like this like my whole savings. I had like $8,000 worth of credit card debt, and I had saved $5,000. Right, instead of paying my credit card debt, I decided, okay, I'll go buy Bitcoin. So I put $5,000 Bitcoin. By the time I actually was able to buy it, the price of Bitcoin had gone to like $100, right? So I bought Bitcoin at $100, $5,000. I had 50 Bitcoin, which is a lot right now, but of course I don't have 50 Bitcoin right now. And I'll tell you some of the mistakes I made so that you guys can learn as well. So what I did was after a week, the price of Bitcoin became like $200, right? I doubled my money. I did not know how this industry works. So no, I don't have that anymore. Anyway, so I doubled my money in a week, right? I had $5,000 and the price of Bitcoin doubled. I sold everything at $200. I thought I was a genius, right? Oh, I bought Bitcoin at $100. I sold at 200, and I was like, thought I was like really smart. And then within a week, the price of Bitcoin went to 200. Like from 200, it went to $300. I was like, oh man, like it's going to $200, $300, and then it went to 350. And then I was like, okay, I think I'm losing out. Let me buy it at 350. So I bought it at 350, and then Bitcoin crashed all the way down to like maybe $150. And I was like, oh my God, like it went down again. So I did a lot of this kind of like, trying to do like these like trading strategies to make money. And the first year I lost a lot of money. So, and then I decided like, you know what, I need to understand this better. And I started doing, what's it called? My research on like how investing works, how do people do investing in the TradFi space. And then I learned, right? Like, I think the biggest lesson I got is also around not the investment strategy or what the tokens invest in, but I think the bigger question is how to find out your own psychology of who you are, and then figuring out what are the strategies you can use that works with your own like psychology. So I think if you are here to make money, I think the best way is to understand psychology and your own mindset. All right, so as I said, I'll go into a few of the what I call them as like archetypes, right? When I started in 2013, I was there because I was really inspired by the values of this new technology, right? There was this technology called Bitcoin, right? If I make money, right? If I earn like my hard-earned money, why should a bank or the government have any say in how I use my own money, right? As long as I'm not hurting the society, my viewpoint was that, hey, I want to be able to do whatever I want with the money I create. And right now you can't, right? Like if you try to do a big transaction, the government or like the, what's it called? The bank will like say, oh, you can't do this kind of thing. They'll shut you down. Or maybe if you want some kind of service, if you don't have enough money, they'll not even give you service, right? Or you have to fill this like ridiculous, like in India, I remember I used to fill these like forms that take like hours to fill, and then that you make a mistake and then you have to go back and forth, and it takes like so much friction. So my whole thing that got attracted me to Bitcoin was this like value and the values driven mentality. And like if you come through that angle of, hey, like I'm values driven, then even if the Bitcoin crashes like 90% or 100 like 80%, right, you don't care because you really believe in this technology to help you meet your values, right? So that's what I initially got into crypto for. And I've seen my own portfolio, like it has dropped at least 3 or 4 times in my career. It has dropped anywhere between like 50% all the way to like 80 to 90%, right? And I've still held on. Uh, was there a question? I'll continue. Like, if you have a question, please feel free to type here. Yeah, so I've still like over the years, I've not sold even like a single like token that I've held into fiat. No, I've kept it on the crypto rails. So because I'm like so value driven, that I kept like I did not sell even when it went down. So this is like my values, right? But not everyone is there. And also some people could be like driven by the technology, right? It is very inspiring, maybe it's so interesting and cool. So then that could be you, right? Like you could be tech driven, right? Like and then there are other people as well, right? Like people who want to come into the industry and they say, hey, I want to make money, and I want to make money fast, right? So that is also a personality, right? And then again, like there is no judgment, right? It's good to know in your own psychology of where in these three buckets you lie, right? Maybe it changes over time. Like I started value driven, and then I got into tech later on, and then I later on what's it called, was also interested in the money. But it's very nice to figure out where you are in your life and what your values are, and then figure out who you are, and then you can make investment strategies based on these things. And then of course, like if you're a newcomer, it's also good to know if you're tech, if you are into like a tech field or a tech adjacent field, or you are a non-tech, right? This also helps, right? Like I know some of the developers on my team are super into tech, right? They read every single line of code before they're comfortable in investing in a project. My background is more security, so I don't really read code as much, but I'm more like values driven and I read a little more high level. So then, yeah, like, so having these kind of like insights into who you are will help you make better decisions. And then there's an alternate route as well, right? What I'm doing right now is I'm building, like, I've decided to start my own company, and I'm focusing and like building this company out, and I don't have as much time in investing. So you can also contribute in this industry and earn your crypto instead of like trying to buy it with your money. So this is also another like legitimate way of getting into crypto. Yeah, so there is like so much demand right now. As long as you can like update your skills, uh, it is super easy to get into this field. One is directly by reaching out to these like new projects that are being built, uh, or you can also like get on Twitter and build like some kind of like study how crypto is working, create a following of your own, or like go meet people in different like Discord channels, and then you can contribute to different projects that way. Go ahead, Saurabh. Well, was there a question? I guess not. Feel free to unmute and ask a question. So I'll just see if I can answer some of the questions.
I have to ask a question.
Yeah,
Sir, I am in my early 20 and I am earning 5,000 per month. Sir, during my college, I am in first year of BTech. Sir, I want to know that how should I invest those 5,000? Where should I invest? I mean,
got it. Yeah. So it's very hard for me to tell you what to invest in. So what I want to do during this talk is give you a framework of how to think of where to invest. So I'll come to that in a minute. All right, so I'll just see if there are any questions around I can answer right now. So somebody wanted to know the difference between Polkadot and Ethereum. So I would say the difference is both are layer one blockchains, and then Ethereum is currently proof of work, and Polkadot is proof of stake. So that is a difference. And but Ethereum is also becoming a proof of stake soon. But the goals of both projects are a little different. Polkadot is trying to become a project that connects different blockchains and have an ability for different blockchains to talk to each other. Ethereum is more like a platform where you can build different like dApps on top. How proof of stake works, I'll just give a high level answer. In proof of work, you have to show that you did some kind of work by running, either like a processing power, like, like a ASIC mining in terms of like Bitcoin. In proof of stake, instead of trying to do some kind of work, you lock some kind of like tokens to secure the network. So basically that's the difference. In proof of work, you're doing some kind of work. In proof of stake, you are actually locking up your tokens instead of doing work to provide security to a blockchain. Cool, I'll go down here. Can you give some basic ideas about NFT and what are the uses ahead? I'll talk about this in a minute later on. Looking for make a career in blockchain, could you give some advice? Yeah, so for an undergraduate student, I would say, I think I already touched upon this, like Twitter is the best place to get to know and meet people in the crypto space. Yeah, I would say, like, start following people on Twitter. I'll put my Twitter handle here. It's called Hindu Hacker. Feel free to follow me, and also you can follow like some of the people I'm following. This is the best way. You can even reach out, right? Like a lot of like top people within crypto have their DMs open. You can literally like message any like billionaire or like founders of these projects and like talk to them. It's very accessible. So I would start on crypto Twitter, find out what things are happening, get on Discords, see like, what kind of things, doesn't matter what your education is. You could be a CS major or not, does not matter, right? Like just find out, like by hanging out in these like different like Discord channels and communities, find out where your values lie, and then you can start helping those people and then get, that's one of the ways I would say to get in. I'll just go down here. Have you heard about this project, Marlin Labs? I have not, I have no opinion. I have heard of a graph project, and I'll talk about graph as well in a minute. Okay, cool. I'll continue down the slides here and I'll answer the other questions as I go. Okay, so you're asking about investment strategies. So my goal here is to give you a framework based on, how I talked about like these different things. Find out where you are in this thing. There's no judgment, right? If you just want to make money, understand that that's where you are, and then you can make strategies based on that. Or if you're interested in tech, yeah, just figure out where you are and then do a strategy. Yeah, so I'll answer some of that, right? Like, so I think from my side, the way I'm thinking of this is I'm a long-term investor, and I think in really long term. So all the strategies I've built is thinking about the next like 5 years, even 10 years down the line. And then I've created these strategies. Maybe your time frame may be smaller, so you can use that in your strategy to create your own like strategy. So I'll tell you, right? Choose your time frame. That is really important if you want to make money in the next 1 year or in the next 10 years, right? And then build your own initial portfolio. And the way to build it, right, is a few things, right? So let's say when I was starting out in 2013, I decided that I will save 6% of my savings and put it in Bitcoin. Like every month, like every 2 weeks, I would just put like 6% of my salary, no matter what, into building up my portfolio, because this is called dollar cost averaging. And no matter, what's it called, what the market is doing, I'm always putting the same amount every single month, right? What this does is, like, nobody can predict. Anybody who tells you they can predict the price of Bitcoin or any crypto is lying to you. I would run away from them. And if they can actually predict, they would never tell you that they can predict, right? So this is like a double-edged sword. So I would not trust anybody. Don't even trust me when I give you advice, right? So you should always do your own research. And like, if you have a lot of money, right now, I don't have a salary. So I'm doing my business. Once in a while, I get a lot of money. So I just invest everything in lump sum. But the other way to do it is like you said, right? You're making, somebody's making like 5,000 rupees a month every day, sorry, every month. So then you decide, like, for your risk appetite, you guys are in like early 20s, right? If that is the case and you really believe in crypto, then I would say, okay, like maybe that number should be either 100% of your savings, or maybe like 50% or 80%. For me, it was 6% when I started. Okay, so you can decide for yourself how much is that, and then you can dollar cost average into a particular token, right? You can say, I'll start with like, I would say a good bet would be either Bitcoin or Ethereum, and don't try to like go into these like exotic different tokens. So I would just set aside a percentage, and then every month or every 2 weeks you put like, I'll put like, I don't know, 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees every 2 weeks into buying a crypto. And then yeah, and then I would always say, like, do your own research, and do not use YouTube in learning how to make money on crypto. That is like the worst thing. You don't know like what kind of bags or tokens they're holding and what their incentives are. So YouTube is a good way to learn how technology works, but it is not a good way to learn where to put your money in. And that way to put is usually it's based on your own research, or following some people on Twitter who you think can give you like unbiased opinion, not on the price but on the technology. And then you know, that's how you would think about investing. All right, so can you tell me the resource to use for learning crypto? What is required to build a blockchain network? Yeah, let's try to answer this in a minute. I'll just keep going down here and I'll try to answer these questions as I go. And I'll talk about like how to do your own research. And this is doing research is for a early stage company, and this research will differ for a little bit like later stage company. So something that I look for when I'm trying to find out what is a good project is, I look at the team, I look at the history of what the team has built before, and then try to see if they have any connection with what they're building right now. And also, like, you know, like, how is the project designed? And of course, like, how is the token designed? This is a very important thing to know is, hey, like, is the team and the VCs who invested in the project keeping most of the tokens, or is the tokens evenly distributed to many people? So you want to find a project where the tokens are distributed to the community as much as possible. If the team and the insiders have 50% of the tokens or more, then that's not a good project. So you want to find a project that has like little less ownership. So one way to find out this is like, you could go to like CoinMarketCap, or you could go to like Messari Crypto. These are two projects that you could use to understand like how and what kind of like shares different projects tokens are spread out. And I'll put the links here. This is Messari and this is CoinMarketCap. These are like two good sites to do like some initial like research. Cool. And then I will not really answer like, you know, I'll not give you like specific project recommendations, because that is something that you'll have to do on your own, but I'll give you some guidelines of how to think about it. Okay, I'll go down the list here. If you can read the code, it is good to just read the code and see how good the project is. Or if you can't read the code, you can also learn how to use GitHub and see, hey, this is a cool project. How many stars does this GitHub project have? How many people have forked this project? This is also a good indication to learn about a project. And then I already talked about like token design. How is the token designed? How is it distributed? How it is being used in the network? And then how much does the community own, right? You want projects to, the community of the projects to own tokens if it has to succeed. And also you can look at the website. Okay, go ahead, Hitesh.
So when you said that we should read the code, what code exactly are you referring to?
So let's say there is a project, right, that you are looking at. Earlier, somebody mentioned the graph protocol, right? So you can go to their website and see, because again, like blockchain technologies are open source, right? If the code of a blockchain is not open source, then that is not a cryptocurrency or a blockchain in my eyes. So I would not really look at that. But most of the projects will have that code on GitHub. So you'll go to GitHub of that project and you'll try to see if you can read the code. Or if you're not technical, you can just look at other like indicators that show that they are good developers by looking at the code,
Oh,
like
okay. I didn't know
how
that it was on GitHub. So,
yeah.
what should we look for in the code?
Just looking at like how good the programmers are, right? Or how
Oh,
are they
okay.
like smart people or not? Trying to figure that out, and also trying to see if you can it is understandable. Go ahead, Ronak.
Yes, sir. Hi, sir. I'm Ronak from Triple I Delhi. So I wanted to know, sir, how does the blockchain technology actually tackle a problem that can't be solved using the existing resources that we have, or the existing technologies that we have? Like, can you give me some example or a general overview of that?
Yeah, 100%. So, so why was like blockchain helpful, right? Like, so I'll for why did I even start using like Bitcoin? For me, it was that one is it provides a way to overcome censorship, right? Tomorrow, like if the government thinks, hey, Ronak, you have a business that we don't like what you're doing, they can just like freeze your bank account or shut you down. So that is one use case, right? Where if you had your wealth stored in Bitcoin, nobody can literally come to you and say, hey, like you can do X or Y. Like literally, you could send me $1 million, you can send me $1 billion or $1 trillion. There's literally like nobody can stop you, right? As long as they don't have physical access to you. So that is one, I would say, like the biggest use case for me that attracted me to crypto. But not everybody thinks like that, right? Like some people believe in the government or the banks. Some other use cases could be, like right now, forget countries, right? Even like big tech companies, right? Like Google and Facebook, right? Google had this saying before, like, don't be evil. But now, if you see for the last 8 years, there's not there anymore, right? So in blockchain, if you don't like what Google is doing or in Facebook is doing, right now you can't really take Facebook's code and say, hey, I hate what Facebook is doing. They're not really being nice. You can't really take Facebook code and like fork it and build your own project on top of it, right? You have to like rebuild the whole Facebook. In crypto, it's not like that, right? Let's say I'm like me as a founder of a DeFi protocol, I'm building a project and you are part of the community and you don't like the direction where I'm going, you can literally say, hey, this Deepak is not doing a good job. I'll just fork the code because the code is already on GitHub. You can literally fork the code, literally duplicate exactly what I'm doing and create your own project, right? So that is like freedom, man. Like that is literally you having freedom and saying that I believe that something should exist in the world and I believe that other people are doing it wrongly and you have the freedom to do it yourself. So those are like I would say like two high level things that really attract me of why I'm in crypto.
Thank you,
Mani,
sir.
did you have a question? Yeah, go ahead, Sai. Yeah, go ahead. Please unmute yourself, Tanishk.
Hi, sir. This is Tanish going from Triple I Delhi. I wanted to ask you a question. Like, I've heard that crypto markets are volatile. We all know that. But is blockchain development for developers also as volatile? Like, is it risky as a career to go into that development, or what are your views on that?
I would say, dude, like right now, if you want to become a developer in crypto, it is never like it's not been like this is like the best time. This is like literally the golden era of a new technology. Imagine like like getting into like software in the year like 2000, 2001, or getting into like mobile development in like 2006 or 7. Those were the golden eras of those technologies, and right now is like the golden era of blockchain. Literally, like there is like so much money right now, even if the markets are volatile. There are at least I would say like a rough estimate is like anywhere between like 50 billion to $100 billion is being pumped by venture capitalists into this industry to build the next big like blockchain technology. So all this money is going into all the projects like mine that are building blockchain projects. So you have like job security, man. Like if you want to get into this, this is nothing like it. Like you're literally getting like the early stage. So I would definitely recommend you guys. And also you're in your early 20s, man. Like even if this doesn't work, the skills you build will help you succeed.
Sir, so regulation would do you think that regulation would ever affect the job market, like regulation in India, right? So would it ever affect the job market for blockchain developers?
I don't think it'll affect the blockchain developers themselves, but the projects might get affected. But the thing is, I think India and like, I think like US also like slowing down, like creating like good regulation is like literally like shooting yourself in the foot, right? If India doesn't do it, like a lot of other countries are like being very like fair and open to blockchain technologies. So the talent will go elsewhere, right? Like I personally have been working with a few what's it called blockchain developers in India, and then but the company is based in like some other country, like so people are like afraid to like set up companies in India, but you can literally work from anywhere, like if you're in India, you have internet, so you can work for companies all over the world, which is the amazing cool thing that the governments don't understand or care to like learn, right? So you can work like even like a lot of Indian companies, right? Like I think the Polygon is like the team is in India, but the if I'm correct, maybe the company is based out of like Singapore. So a lot of even blockchain projects that are based in India are creating these companies and entities outside India just to avoid this. But for you as a developer, I think you should be fine. Like you should not worry too much around that.
Okay, sir, thank you.
All right, so I'll just
So,
quickly continue. Oh, go ahead, Ronak. Like, let's make this quick.
yes, I wanted to know, sir, how do we actually begin to get into this technology? Like, what was your journey towards it? Like, how did you initiate developing what you're doing right now?
Yeah, good question. I'll answer that. I'll take maybe like a few minutes to answer this. So I started off initially, as I said, as a hobbyist. I was interested in crypto. When I used to work as a cybersecurity consultant, doing like hacking and stuff, white hat hacking, not the dark arts kind of thing. And then I got into crypto as a hobby. I bought like some Bitcoin, and I would make fun, like, people would make fun of me because I decided to buy Dogecoin back in 2013. And I wanted to like be called a millionaire. So I had like 1 million plus Dogecoin, and I would talk like, make fun, like people would make fun of me, and I would say, hey, I'm a Dogecoin millionaire, right? That was just like fun. But later on, like, as I like quit my job, started my own security company, uh, I was still doing it in Web 2, and I got like so frustrated with the politics in like regular companies and like these big companies. I decided to move my entire company into helping Web 3 companies. That's how I got into crypto, was because I already had some skill, and I decided to bring the skill I had developed in Web 2 into Web 3. That is how I got in first. And then once I was in there, I think a good way, if you guys are entrepreneurial or want to start your own company, the best way to start your own company is to work at another like startup instead of joining a high paying like Google's or like, I don't know, Infosys or Cognizance of the world. I would join a startup and learn, right? And I would, if you have the opportunity nowadays with Zoom and Google Meet, you can actually meet people that are outside India. Like, so I would literally like try to see if you can work at a company outside India, like find out what are good companies, right? Either in like Berlin or like some kind of like decentralized company or a Silicon Valley company, and learn how startups work. And that is the best way. One is to learn the skills of how to start your own thing, and two is making the connections, right? This is like super important, to make connections. And once you are actually part of a company, it's much easier for people to trust you and make connections. So that is how I would think of starting. Go ahead, Dipankar.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Yeah. So I wanted to know from your side, like, it, as you were talking about Web3, so how, like, what according to you, what is the market or the ecosystem in the future that is gonna be like when Metaverse is going to use crypto extensively? Like, Metaverse is built on cryptos only right now. So what do you think? Like, how will be the amalgamation between the two things? Like, will it be only on crypto, or there is a chance that it will be also using regular currencies?
Yeah, good question. The way I look at it is that crypto and Web3 is the future. I don't think there'll be any Web2 in the next few years. Everything will be Web3. And even I think, like right now, like, the whole like username password does not even make sense, right? Like you go into like Facebook, you have one user, you go into Google, Gmail, you have another user. What if you could use something like MetaMask to log into any website, right? Why do you need all these other things, right? So I think this model will come into every aspect of our life, and in a few years, people will not even know that there is a blockchain underneath, right? It's the same thing as like, hey, if you are using right now, we're on Google Meet. Do we know what technologies in the back end? Like, is it on like Google Cloud? Or is it using like microservices? Is it using I don't know, like, is it using like Python or is it using like Golang? Nobody cares, right? We're just using the service. I think crypto will also be like that in a few years. That's how I think of it. All right, cool. So before I answer other questions, I'll keep quickly
So I
finishing.
just have one more question, like an extension of what I asked. Like, in one of the metaverse platforms like Sandbox, I saw that they have started integrating with Ethereum. All right. So will it be in the future also like this, that any new metaverse platform that exists, they will always choose, I mean, the kind of crypto that is that's very popular, or they can also shift to their own crypto. I mean to say that there are so many cryptocurrencies right now which are there around us. So uh, based on what decision do they choose a particular currency? Is it based on the technology or the popularity of that particular crypto?
Yeah, I think right now there is this explosion of tokens. In the long run, I feel that two things will happen. One of two things. One is either like these tokens will have to start consolidating. This is very similar to the early days of currencies, right? Like US literally, when early days had like so many different states and so many counties. So they were like literally banks in each of these like towns, and they had their own currency, and they had like a way of exchanging this currency between different towns and then between states. And then things started consolidating, and finally we just have like one thing, right? Like a dollar, right? So I think either that will happen, or the other way that will happen is there'll be like these like baskets of tokens that will get automated. Like you'll not even like know what currency. Maybe you have like 100 different tokens, but somebody else is helping you manage those tokens, and you'll just be not managing those things. All right. So in the interest of time, I'll just quickly go in another like 10 minutes. I'll finish the slides, and then we can do a round table and ask questions. So I think that might work better. So I'll finish like how to do your own research on crypto projects. The other thing is to look at the websites, right? Like how is it designed? Are they trying to sell you the price of the token? I would always like stay away. Like this is something that I'll stay away from when I'm trying to make wealth. So I'm always thinking of wealth and not making money. Wealth is when you think long term and want to build uh, something that will last you for a generation or even for your kids' generation, right? That is wealth. Like making money is very short term. Then you may make money, you may lose money, right? And if these websites are trying to sell you, oh, we'll help you make money, I'll double your money or 10 times your money, I would run away from them. More likely than not, they're like scams or they're like really incompetent teams. I would really stay away from these kind of things there because they're trying to take uh, advantage of your emotions. And also go with your gut feelings. Sometimes it is like helpful to see, and you can also see like other social signals, like are there other like non-biased researchers on Twitter or elsewhere that are talking not about the price of the token, but the technology and what it will enable in the future. I would like to see that. And then the other things are like thinking about like the tech, token economics, and things like that, and also around, you know, how good is the community? Are they like being friendly and nice and helping people, or are they just there to like talking about the price of the token? All right, so this is how you can. Now I told you about a few things about like your archetypes, or like what your psychology is, and now based on the psychology, decide what your time horizon is, and then create your own thesis, right? So I'll tell you like what my thesis is. So for me, I believe layer ones will capture a lot of value. So layer ones are projects like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polkadot. So these are called layer ones. So I'm not asking you to invest in these tokens I mentioned, but for me, I think layer one projects will capture a lot of value. So I invest a lot in layer ones. And then going down like middleware, right? So middlewares are projects that other projects need to use. So one of the middleware is oracles, right? Like blockchains do not know what is happening in the real world. So oracles are a way to bring real world data. For example, a stock price, or who won the election, did Modi win the election or not? So if you are building some apps on blockchain, the blockchain will not know that in answer. So oracles will help you. So I think Oracle, like middleware projects, will also capture a lot of value. I'll go down the list here. L1s with token exchange, token and data exchange. So this is like projects like Cosmos or Polkadot that allow you to exchange data between different blockchains. And then bridges, like bridges are also like similar projects that allow you to transfer tokens from different projects. Indexing. So this is where like I think somebody asked about like graph protocol. So literally like graph protocol is like Google, but for blockchains, right? It allows you to index data and give, because blockchains are slow. When you want to use blockchains for the data that has already happened before, so indexing is a way to speed up the data. So like projects like graph protocol are a middleware projects, and they allow you to do like fast queries. And then DeFi. So DeFi is a big thing. My project is in DeFi, so I would go for DeFi. And because a lot of people are leaving, if you guys want the slides and if you want to ask me any questions, I'll put my a form here. Feel free to sign up here if you want to get an email with the slides that I'm showing
Sir,
here,
I am
and
not
that will
able
also
to
give you a.
understand in English. Please repeat in Hindi, sir.
हिंदी मेरा हिंदी उतना अच्छा नहीं है यार, इंग्लिश में बात कर सकता हूँ, sorry. All right, so I'll continue down here in my thesis creation. So in DeFi projects is really rapidly evolving. So right now there are a lot of like DeFi 2.0 projects. I would look at those, and there are some emerging use cases around you know, new things like NFTs, the metaverse, and like some kind of like music like tokens. So I'll just talk about NFTs and metaverse in a minute, but I'll just finish out these other topics that I wanted to cover. Again, as I said, like create your own rules before you begin investing in crypto. And I'll talk about like my rules. So this is very important to understand, like, hey, what are my values and what are the rules? And then you're not very emotionally driven. You're not trying to predict where the market is going. Instead, you're trying to predict what your psychology is. So I already mentioned this. So for me, it is 5 to 10 year horizon. And what I do is when I invest in a, instead of investing in 10 projects, I try to invest in like 2 projects that I really believe in. That's why I have like a bigger check size that I invest in each project. And for NFTs, the way I invest in NFTs is, so this is one of my pudgy penguin. If I find them cute, I buy it. Like I don't have any like smart strategy there, and this has worked for me. And then, you know, like what I do is I have this like portfolio value. Like what I'm saying is like whenever I reach each of these values in my portfolio, I sell like 20% at each of these tiers, and I buy like stable coins. And when I'm trying to close a position, I always try to keep like at least like $5,000 worth of token in one project. So this is a very simple rule that I keep for myself, for me to understand like how I want to, you know, invest in crypto and stay in the game. So this is very non-emotional based, right? This is a very like algorithmic and it fits in one page. This is my rule. So what I would like you guys to do is, if you want to invest, go and like create your own rules like this. I'll send this to you via email. Feel free to then create your own rules, right? All right, then I'll just finish this here. I think this is the last slide, if I'm correct. And as I said, like always, like do your own research. Do not take anybody's advice. You are all adults here. You should learn how to make your own decisions, and then you'll make better decisions then. And then I'll just quickly talk about what I'm doing. So I'm creating a project called Kresko. It's a DeFi platform and a synthetic asset protocol. What that means is that we allow people to buy and sell stocks on the blockchain and really make it easy. So I don't have too much things to sell, nothing to sell here. But if you do want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter on Hindu Hacker. And if you want to like DM me, like feel free to DM me. I answer everyone's question. And if you also DM me, I'll send you like 20 stable coins, 20 US dollar worth of stable coins called CUSD. On this app called Velora on the Celo blockchain. So feel free to DM me on Twitter. And this is our website at kresko.fi. And I'll post these as well in the link here. At Hindu Hacker is my Twitter. Let's see if I can find the Twitter. Hindu Hacker. So this is my Twitter handle, and then I'll give the website here. Feel free to check it out. And if you're interested, feel free to sign up there or DM me on Twitter. Cool. I'll stop there and I'll talk about NFTs for a minute, and then you guys can also ask questions. And as I said, I posted the sign up form here. If you guys want to get the slides, I'll post it again here for slides. And I'll stop presenting. All right, so let me talk about NFTs for 2 minutes, and then we'll have maybe let's see, I can go over for like another like 10 minutes and answer any questions that you may have. Okay, so NFTs, what are NFTs? Basically, NFTs stand for like non-fungible tokens. What that means is like in a simple words, if you have 10 rupees, right? And I have 10 rupees and you have 10 rupees, and I give you 10 rupees and you give me your 10 rupees to me, they're both fungible. I still have 10 rupees and you still have 10 rupees, right? But what non-fungible means is that I have me, right? Like me, Deepak, and let's say I can see like a person called Gagandeep Singh here on the Google Meet here. So we are two different people, right? You can't really exchange me for Gagandeep. So I would say that is non-fungible, right? Anything that cannot be replicated is non-fungible. And what NFTs are allowing now to do is give value to a thing that before was like technically like impossible, right? For example, right, like let's say there is a Mona Lisa painting that is worth millions of dollars and it is in a museum, right? So that is the original, and then you have a photo of Mona Lisa that you can put in your home, right? That will literally cost you, maybe you can take a printout for free and put it on your wall, right? That is not worth millions of dollars, but the Mona Lisa in the museum is worth millions of dollars, right? So that is the difference. But in the digital world, if you create a painting online and make like a JPEG image out of it, and you copy that JPEG image, there is literally no way for me to prove that that my JPEG was the original and yours was not. So what blockchains allows us to do is create a way to prove who has the original and who has the copy, and that is what gives NFT its value, is that you can prove on chain that this has value. So that is in a very like layman's term what an NFT is and why it is valuable. So that is the beginning. I would say a picture-based NFT is an atomic unit of the metaverse, right? So metaverse is literally trying to build a world in its own that has its own rules, right? Like you could have a metaverse that has like a game in it, like Axie Infinity, or it could be something else. And the difference between like the metaverse and these like I guess like these games that were there before, where you can like earn these like you can earn like badges, you can earn like skins and things like that. The problem with those model is that they are centralized and somebody else controls it, right? Like tomorrow they can say, hey, before like there were like marketplaces within these games, and these game developers decided, hey, you can't buy and sell these things. They can stop you from doing it. Or if you play one game and you want to take your skins from one game to another, it might be literally impossible, right? But what the cryptocurrency and blockchains enable is to create these like different kind of games that are decentralized, so that whatever resources, whatever wealth, or whatever you create in one game, you can have the flexibility to take that and move it to somewhere else. So literally it gives you freedom of ownership. So I'll stop there. So that is about NFTs and metaverses, and I'll open it up for questions and we can do discussions. So I see Ishu Manohare has his hands up. Like, go ahead,
Yes.
Ishu.
Hello, sir. Sir, I'm Ishu from Triple IT Daily. So recently, I've been actually working on truffle-based projects, and so I actually clearly not understand the point of shifting from Web 2 to Web 3. I mean, uh, I worked on an auction-based website in which non-fungible items were like auctioned. Bidders were like placing a price on them, and the transactions were using Ethereum. But sir, I don't understand the point of using it. I mean, everything that I did could be clearly done using Web 2. Why are we using Web 3? I mean, it comes with its own delimits like gas cost. It comes with environmental causes and all if it's on a large scale. I don't understand the point of like using it.
Yeah. So I'll answer. It's a longer conversation to answer this in detail. But like the difference is, I just told you, right? If I create something, right? Like, why are people using it, right? Like Web3 is like slow. It costs a lot of money right now. It has like shitty user experience, and even in that, people are using. Why? Because it gives you freedom, right? In Web2, right? Facebook tomorrow can decide to like stop your account, right? Hey, issue, you're doing something wrong. Like Instagram has done it, right? Like Twitter has done it, right? They can literally deplatform you. You build like all these followers, or you have like a bank account or your trading account. Literally, somebody can come and say, "I will stop you from doing what you're doing because either the government said so or because we didn't like what you're doing." In crypto, in Web3, even like me as a builder of a DeFi protocol, if I don't like what you're doing, I can't stop you because the rules of the game are already pre-written and programmed in. And somebody can't come later on and say, hey, no, 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 this rule does not apply to you, or this other rule applies to you. So nobody can do that, right? In Web3. In Web2, they can do it. So that is where I will draw the line, and that is like the biggest like selling point for me. All right, I'll take a question from Tanishk.
Sir, how necessary would you say is experience in web development, in normal development necessary for blockchain?
Not necessary. I know a lot of people who have directly started going from directly started building on like Web3. But if you have experience, it will help, right? Like I think programming concepts are like really similar, have not changed as much since of like 20 years, 20 plus years. So the only thing is just like needing to upgrade your skills into the specifics of a newer technology and blockchain framework. All right, we'll go to Ganit Guru and then back to Ishu.
Sir, if we see in crypto, sir, more than 95% coins, bumps and dumps are maintained by sir Bitcoin. So, sir, how can we set our psychology to invest in any crypto, and why it happens? I mean, whole market is depend on Bitcoin graph. So where is the uh, coin's own flowing nature?
Yeah, it's very hard for me to answer that question because if you're thinking only about like making money, of course, then it makes sense to like just look at the cycle and say, hey, Bitcoin versus like just thinking of all the tokens as like the same, right? Then you don't know the difference between what is Bitcoin, what is Ethereum. But another way to look at it is thinking about what is Bitcoin enabling. Bitcoin is enabling you to do a currency, right? Like exchange of value. What is Ethereum enabling you to do? Ethereum is allowing you to create a platform where you can't be deplatformed. You can create your apps on top of Ethereum, but those are the differentiation between Bitcoin and Ethereum. In the short term, of course, the market will go up and down and volatile, and then a lot of these projects tokens follow along the market of Bitcoin. But in the long run, right, they're getting decoupled, right? Like now, if you look at the difference between Ethereum and Bitcoin, they're kind of like getting decoupled right now. Like if you see the last week, the price of Ethereum was going up while the Bitcoin is going down. So, or the long horizon, as this industry evolves, I think these coupling will get like decoupled much more. Yeah, so that is what I would say. And then I think there's again like this, all these are like longer like discussions. But for the interest of time, let's go to issue.
Sir, I want to ask if someone wants to be a part of KreskoFi, what's the process?
I would say we are an early stage, so I would, if you don't have any background or experience, I would actually go to a little more like established crypto company to work for, where they may have a little more. Again, like I'm assuming that you don't have any prior experience. So I'm looking like at Kresko, we're looking for people because we are still super early stage. We are looking for people who have some kind of experience or background, and we can't really support like freshers. But I would say if you go to a little more established projects where they may have some more bandwidth to bring in like new freshers, uh, uh, that would be, I would say, like a better way to go about. Hitesh.
So I'd asked one question in the comments itself, and there is one more question. So in the comments, I asked regarding your game thing. So why would the developers of the game be incentivized to develop a decentralized in-game economy instead of like keeping control of prices? Similarly, for other applications, like if they have the choice of building a decentralized system and keeping control, if the users really don't care about it, like in case of like Google, like Google has some major privacy issues, or Facebook also, but users don't care because like they are getting benefits of using the platform. So why would the developers use blockchain?
Yeah, that is a question that you have to ask yourself. It looks like you're trying to answer that for yourself. For me, right, I'm developing, and I would rather like, why am I doing this, right? I'm developing a new project, and then I want to make it open source because I believe in the values that every individual should have a human right and freedom, and that's what is like driving me. And I think that is a very like noble thing, but there is also like monetary incentive for me to do that, is because I think in the long run, the more, like I give up ownership to people, the bigger the pie is for everyone. If you look at an example like Uber, right? Like Uber, when they started, like there were all these like people who were doing driving in the early days. They did not get any ownership in the company, right? They were just getting like base, like minimum wage salary kind of thing. And now Uber is like $1 billion company, and none of them have any ownership there. And Uber, if they decide to go self-driving cars, all the drivers that used to drive before are like out of job and they don't have any recourse, right? Instead, if Uber had given ownership to all these like new drivers, then they would have created like this bigger, like super fan base, and they would have evangelized Uber, and Uber could have become much bigger. And I really believe that, right? So that is, I would say, like one thought process there. And the second thought process is this just, what is it called? Speeds up, accelerates the innovation cycle, right? If Uber's like, what is it called? code was all open source, and let's say Facebook's code was all open source, and if I come third person and say, hey, like I'll mix the business model of Facebook and Uber and create something totally different, right? In the Web3 world, I can do that. In the Web2 world, I can't. And then because I can do this, and then somebody else can come and say, I'll mix what Deepak built and I'll mix what maybe Square did. And if you can keep mixing these things, literally the speed of innovation is like so rapid, right? That's why you're seeing like crypto going like from 0 to like 10x to 100x to 1000x in such a fast speed, is because this innovation cycle is going like super fast, and nobody can in Web2 can catch up to this, right? It's still like not happening, right? It's still going this way, and suddenly it will go like this exponential growth, which nobody can catch up with. So this is what I would say, right? Like that's the whole appeal for like people pumping like money into this industry, is because they believe that this kind of innovation will overtake, right? In crypto, there is a saying like 1 week in crypto is literally like 1 year in like the regular world, right? So because it moves so fast.
Right, that was a new perspective for me. So thank you.
Cool. We have, I can stay another like 5 minutes and then we can end it. So we can just open it up as a, what's it called? Just like a discussion based kind of thing. If you guys have any question or yeah, then let me know. Or any comment. Yeah, go ahead.
So what would be the right time for a beginning developer to start approaching companies for experience? Because for me personally, I've like startups, obviously, unpaid internships, smaller roles like that. So after we develop a few projects, or like once with theoretical knowledge of the subject, or when would you recommend that we start searching for these roles?
I would say start as early as possible. You can even before you build the skills, you can already like start looking at different projects on on the blockchain and say, hey, like this is something that I'm excited about. Join that Discord, talk to the people, and you'll get little more like specific answers than what I'm giving you, because they will tell you what they need, and you can just contribute, right? You could contribute by just creating like if you wanted to help Kresko, follow Kresko on Twitter and then create like some random like memes for me, and then I'll be more incentivized to like talk to you and like tell you like what I need, right? So that is a good way to like get your foot in, and then build your portfolio, man. Like if you want to be a developer, I would say like these days, I would say like if you ask people, first thing they'll ask you is like, what have you built? So even if you build like some projects, you could just put it on GitHub, and I would say, hey, send me your GitHub. Like nobody cares about your resume these days as a developer, right? If you ask me, hey, I want a job at Kresko, I'll be like, send me your GitHub, right? That's how I can actually like see your work. That is one way. The other way is participate in a lot of hackathons. Like that is another way. Like one of my lead developers who joined my company, the way he started was like he went and literally back in the day, like he could read every single smart contract out there. He read that and he went on to like then join a lot of these like hackathons and won a lot of hackathons. That is another way. And if you are entrepreneurial and want to start your own company, I would say like learn like these basic skills and join like some of these like accelerators. Yeah, so those are like a few ways to get in. All right, then I think we have like 2 minutes left. I'll just close this out. As closing comment, what I will say is, I think it's really important to figure out first is, instead of trying to say how much money I can make or how fast I can make, why not take a step back and think about what your values are, or what your forget values. Like if you're not old enough to understand what your values are, think about what your interests are. Go with that. Like go with what your interests are or what you're already good at. So these are two things I would say, and that is how I would approach the thing. And then from there, like like the sky is the limit. So with that said, I'll stop there. Feel free to DM me on Twitter. I'm always available to answer questions, and I'll get back to Vinayak.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time, Deepak. It was a really, really wonderful lecture. I'm pretty much sure that everybody here enjoyed it, right, and has learned a lot of stuff today, right? And please definitely, DM Deepak so that you guys can avail that $20 thing, right? And it's really amazing, a really great giveaway by Deepak. Thank you so much for your time, Deepak. Uh, and maybe we can end this lecture here. It was really great having you here. Thank you.
Thanks, Vinayak, and thanks everyone for joining. See you all.
Bye bye. So guys, a moment, like I'll expand some things here for some people that are interested, right? Uh, Deepak told you guys about hackathon, right? I just remembered it. We have a hackathon going on in India by the name of Plenty Hackathon, and it's powered by Tezos India. And the giveaways are somewhere around $80,000, right? If anybody is interested in hackathons, please go ahead. You guys can join that hackathon and maybe avail some of those prizes, maybe win some of them, and it would be really great if some people from here we can see them there, right? And along with it, we are hiring some people who are interested in blockchain development and they want to pursue their careers there as interns, right? I believe most of you guys are college students, right? A form will be shared with a lot of them, right? I believe a form is already been shared amongst the groups. Please feel free to contact us if some of you are looking for guidance in development of blockchain. Great. It was really awesome, guys. Really, really great having you guys here. Thank you for your time. Bye bye.